And we're back, dear spectators, for the last time tonight as we're headed towards Game 3. Stabil versus Snooze Esports. Prashtana still by my side, and maybe you can tell us a bit about this matchup and why this big blue box says that it's the most important game of the night.
Yeah, basically, both teams at the moment in the standings with 2 wins and 3 losses. And of course, it's the PostTV Esports Master, so the top 3 teams get into playoffs, into the good playoffs, you could say. So at the moment, Snooze and Stabil are both on place number 3. So if one of them now wins against each other, then one team has a 1-win lead, of course. So if then both, for example, just loses everything or wins everything, the team who won their game today are on place number 3, right? So that's the importance. Whoever wins this might get onto playoffs. Whoever loses this needs maybe a victory against Base or against Roy Fam to still have a chance. And especially the win against Roy Fam, really hard. To win against Base could be possible. And then you might even only get the tiebreaker, for example, and you need to play against this team again. And if you lost to them one time, then it could be rough. By the way, the first game in this round robin between both teams, do you know who won it?
I did not do my homework, and I will call back upon my goldfish memory as an excuse to say that I do not know now.
I can say it was Snooze, actually.
Snooze won.
So yeah, so they won it, and then they lost everything, and in the end, last week they won the second game. So Snooze with a good start in the season, and then with the downfall, and now they climb up again. And maybe an important part about today's game, and we can quickly just talk about the lineup. So if Regie maybe shows us the Snooze lineup first. Of course, Raguzi, JJS, and there's the important thing. You see Raich and Yatun, and both play today, because the first couple of matches they played with a substitute support, and then they even played, I think, 2 games with a substitute mid laner. And today is the first day in the PostTV Esports Masters, at least, where those 5 people play with each other for the first time now in the normal season. And that could be really important for the mental thing, of course, and then for the skill, because they know to play with each other, and that might give them the edge against Stabil.
Yeah, it's definitely, so you take what you get in order to take a win. Talking about Stabil here, we can see their very own lineup. And maybe to bounce a bit on what you said about substitutes, they are playing with a substitute, if I'm not mistaken. No, never mind, I am mistaken. I misread the lines, and I saw a different name, and I thought it was the support, but it wasn't the support. The support is trigger happy. They're playing with their full Unleashed roster. So it is a heel-to-heel battle. Who will take the win between Stabil and Snooze in order to get the more favorable position for a 3rd spot as we are headed towards playoffs here at the PostTV Esports Masters? We will see that in a bit as the game unfolds, and I think the game should be ready, and we are ready to head into Game 3 of tonight, Stabil versus Snooze.
And there we are, in-game, in maybe one of the most important matches of the whole season. Stabil on blue side against Snooze on red side. And I just want to quickly go over the draft, just that you guys know the draft in order. It was Tristana, first pick for the blue side, then Varus and Maokai. Maokai, of course, as a flex pick, really early picked. Then Brent into Ashe. So still there's a flex pick with Tristana and with Ashe. Then Diana, actually, which is a pretty cool pick. And then the second pick order was Kindred for red side, into Alistair, Ornn, into Quen, So the big counter pick Quen as a counter pick to Ornn as last pick from JJS, which I quite like.
Yeah, that definitely is cool. Gwen overall also always a very strong pick. With especially the whole split push potential that this champion brings with himself. Definitely a good addition to that team. And you mentioned the Diana. I'm also a huge fan of the Diana. I know Reich has in the past played quite a lot of Diana on high level. It is a champion that he knows quite well. So I also can't wait to see it. And yeah, we have small encounter on the bot lane, but that's not what I want to say. I wanted to mention that you talked about the Tristana mid lane, and well, now Stabil decides to also go for it and see how Exton Joe manages on that channel.
Yeah, and it's actually a first time Diana here in the Post Esports Master, so right, just brings something new to the table. And there's one funny thing actually. JJS played this Quen actually one time against Axos Nasus and lost in 21 minutes. I mean, the whole team lost, but this Quen just couldn't keep up with the Nasus. And this time he plays against a much weaker top laner, not against Axo, but against Max, who still is a good top laner, but maybe a little bit weaker than Axo. And of course, in a winning matchup against an Ornn. So this time, JJS has probably better chances in this matchup.
Yeah, we'll see how he fares. For now, a very slow start into the game, but this might change it a bit as we have here a bronze trap coming in from Snooze Esports. They get some nice damage on Trigger, happy with the ignite out, but not enough to finish off the cow.
Yeah, and Rakuzi normally on those Vayne and Twitch picks, this time on a Varus, usually get a really quick first blood or at least a quick kill. I think every single time there was borderline action involved in him, either dying or getting 1 or 2 kills. So they of course want to play around him every single time because he is one of the big carries of this team. And now with Yatun instead of healer, they definitely have a big support here for themselves.
Yeah, definitely seems like all the cards are in the hands to take another win after quite a few losses. With a slow start into the game, it definitely seems unusual for what you usually see from Snooze, especially on the bot lane, as you've mentioned just now. But let's see, who knows, maybe they're cooking.
And, I really like it that we see Kinetic again on this Kindred. We saw it one time as well. So they kind of stick to some comfort, but then of course to new stuff as well. And I'm really hyped to see this Diana pick, especially kind of as a counter pick to Tristana. Usually you could say Tristana should have the edge in this matchup because it's range versus melee, and the range champion usually can find better trades and better poking and kind of deny some CS, for example. But especially against those Dianas, those Aurelias, after the first few levels, if they get their gap closer and stuff, they can be pretty strong actually in a 1v1. And of course, later on, it's an assassin against an ADC. And usually people meme around, wow, you picked an ADC, of course you will die in a 1v1. Because ADCs are usually in one shot for an assassin, right? So even the matchup is in the favor of Champion Drucker, of course, right? So that's definitely a big thing. And with those shields, you can see it. You can always go for those waves, just cleared out, and is never in the danger of being poked too much from this Tristan.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see that in the mid lane. He's having a good time, he's got the CS lead, he's always able to just push the lane in, flash in from Trigger Happy, very nice W on to Rakuzi, gets some nice damage on the AD carry out, the stun comes out just in time, he's not able to get away, first blood goes to Illust, who has had a name change, previously known as Mimaway. Snickers, in the meantime, picks up the Void Grubs while Kinetic goes for that Drake. With early objectives taken by both teams.
Yeah, and in the end, like I said, Rakuzi usually is part of the first blood. This time he is the first blood, and he does not get it. And that was a pretty good play actually by Trigger Happy, because they knew they are doing Void Crops, and Yatun isn't there, so they are doing Drake. And in this case, that they are doing Drake, there will not be someone around. So Trigger Happy just went for the flash play on Rakuzi, and in the end, they just have too much CC, especially with those Ash volleys and those slows to run them down.
In the meantime, on the bot lane, Snooze decides that they're not happy with that kill on Kinetic, aren't able to conclude the deal here against Trigger Happy, however, so he does get a lot of damage.
Yeah, and at the moment, even though there's one kill for Stabil and in the bot lane, you still have a big CS lead top lane, a big CS lead mid lane, so those two solo lanes work really, really good. Both, of course, in a slight counter pick scenario, so of course they will kind of win their lane if they are isolated, and those CS advantages might lead them to victory if they can use it on the sidelines.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is starting to look like JJS might have his game of the season here, starting off really strong with that lead already, and overall in a favorable matchup already from the get-go. So this is what this is the optimal condition for a Gwent player here.
Yeah, always under isolation definitely helps to win it, and there could be one problem with the side lane plan, because usually you need a lot of wave clear or a lot of disengage to actually play it, and I think they have a lot of disengage, especially with the Maoka ultimate and stuff, but the wave clear just with Varus is maybe not strong enough to keep up this 1-3-1 if they then maybe get engaged by the Ash Arrow, for example, and stuff. But let's see, especially the penetration Varus, like we see right now, pretty much can always one-shot with E and Q. If he is good in game, then the AD should be enough to clear wave always. But he is always on risk of being engaged, especially against Ash. And we already see that he plays with Ghost and not with a Cleanse, for example. So Ash Arrow definitely is a big threat later on for Rakuzi.
Yeah, definitely. And overall, Stabil is more or less down on CCs on other fronts as well, so this could be quite dangerous. But we will see how it goes. For now, the game is very even. Gold-wise, both teams actually perfectly tied, almost. One Drake in favor of Snooze, 3 Void Grubs in favor of Stabil. This is definitely a slow game.
Yeah, both teams just scale up. And if we just look at the scaling, I think both have a pretty even scaling, actually. Yeah, some people might say Quen, of course, has a better side lane scaling, but teamfight scaling is pretty even, especially with those own items. Both junglers are definitely strong in the late game, even though Kindred has kinda unlimited scaling if she gets enough of those stacks. Yeah.
Here we have the arrows, CC chain onto Rakuzi as he dies in a matter of seconds. But here comes a Yatun with the ultimate along with Kinetic. They decide to not go in a 2v3 situation.
Oh, really, really good catch there. And that's the second kill for the Ash. And with that, plenty of gold, even 15 CS lead. So almost 2 waves. And with that, close to the first item.
Yes, and in the meantime, on the other side, not too much action going on. Joe is able to stay very safe. But yeah, Toon and Kinetic decide to steal some cannons, and this is really good. Kinetic has a very decent lead as well. Let's not forget that. And if he gets those stacks over time, can become quite dangerous. It looks like Snooze is also going for the second Drake here in this game, while Slakers is walking towards the Void Grubs. They already have 3 opportunity to get 6 of them, which of course gives your team a huge boon.
Yeah, will help quite a lot if you get into the situation of split push, of course, or at least of tower hitting, and especially top lane. On should never be at the stage in the 1v1 to hit the turret, but of course if Gwen isn't there, then On can take down turrets, not quickly, but with those 6 Void Crabs, at least at a decent pace. Tristana gets really strong with those Void Crabs. It's usually one of the best tower pushing ADCs anyway, because of the bomb, and now with 6 Void Crabs, maybe it's even fast enough if she gets some time to take down a turret by herself. So, and of course Ashe likes to siege, and so I think Void Crabs is definitely a good decision by Stabil. But from now on, they need to contest those Drakes because they don't want to give up those Drakes for nothing. Because especially later, Drake Soul is a big thing to then get the enemy team into this position to fight you, and maybe you don't want to fight them. And of course, with 4 Drakes, we get the Soul, and their team, especially with Diana, with Maokai, with Gwen, they have a pretty decent Cloud Soul team.
Yeah, definitely. They can take great advantage out of it. There's a bit of a situation in top lane, no one dies, however. Back to calm. Really, compared to the other games we've had today, this is like a walk through the park here. From Stabil and Snooze. No one risks it. I mean, they've all got plenty time. As you said, both teams scale really well. They can just chill and try to build up a solid foundation, gap the enemy team in terms of CS. I mean, it's going really well. Stabil is slightly ahead in gold, but nothing too bad. Objectives are perfectly split, we've already mentioned that. On one side, one lane has a lead, on the other side it's the other. So yeah, perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Yeah. Herald is spawning in 10 seconds, so we might see something around that, especially now with the top lane having teleported Maxax. So he definitely wants to keep up the pressure for a potential Herald. And you already see that Slakers is at the Herald, so they want to secure it in time, maybe even before the Drake is spawned, to then maybe play around the Drake or something. But on the other side, you already see there is a potential cross-map play. Diana was on the move, but they don't go for a tower dive. So at the moment it's just one objective for nothing. But with the Drake spawning soon, we might see our first team fight, or Stabil just decides to give it up. That could be, of course, a play they could do.
Yes, options are there in any case. Teams. So items are starting to come in for quite a few people, slowly but surely, which I think might give one or the other the urge to want to use them. They now increase damage. We have Snooze that go for a turret push here on the bot lane with Kinetic joining up. 280 carries onto one turret in order to get quite a lot of damage in. We get this push in. Drake is gonna spawn very soon. This is a good timing for them to fall back, to go back to reset. They got the first turret money, which is really good. Can give them an edge. JJS coming in. Okay, they don't find Slakers or don't go on to him.
Yeah, the game, like you said, is pretty quiet. Drake is spawning soon, so
Good.
there could be potential for that. Oh, we see top lane, both sides ulting, and Max actually surviving it. But like I said, it's just a counter matchup. You will never be able to really win it as an Ornn, and just will get outlaned. Basically, you cannot out trade Gwen. And now they try to move for Drake even with Maxax, which means that JJS gets top lane turret probably, and Snooze could actually decide to just go for Drake for turret, or JJS could just teleport because Maxax has no ultimate, so he isn't really that strong in this 5v5, but JJS is pretty strong, so they might just go for that. No, they just trade object for turret.
Yeah, which is an okay exchange. This gives them more money. They are now ahead in terms of gold, so they tip the scales in that regard. Now, of course, Stabil getting this objective puts them ahead in terms of objectives, since they had all 6 of the Void Grubs as well. So I guess it's a pretty even exchange. The game stays rather even. The game still goes at a slow pace, but when you maybe a catching on to Slakers, this could be really good for Kinetic, who has his mark onto him. Yes, he does. We're gonna get stunned now. He's able to use the Lapse Thrust, but gets pushed away, but still gets away thanks to JJS coming in, closing the rear guard here for him. Janky Drucker Reich comes into the middle and with TP is gonna die at the hands of Den Zhou, but JJS was able to finally kill the Colossus. That is one.
Yeah, a little bit overforced there, especially with the players count, with the knockback from Trigger Happy. Kinetic survived. I think he would have been dead after the Kindred ultimate anyway, so they kind of helped him out of the situation. It was a 2-4-1 in the end for Snooze, which of course favors them, but still we will see here the catch on Slakers, who face check the brush and in the end just dies in the 1v1. Then there came a good Ash arrow, and then this knock up over the Lime's respite, so to kill her, because then she is not in the ultimate anymore. But of course nobody was there to kill it, and then she just jumps over the wall. So in the end was a good plan, but didn't work out for Stabil.
What I want to mention when you said that it was slow again, I think this plays into Snooze's hands, going slow in the end, because you know they're the better team. They're the team that's in terms of like they're accustomed to sleeping, because yeah.
Okay.
I think you got the gist of my
That's
joke,
the angle,
which was delivered in a really clumsy manner, but it's alright. It's late. I'll just use that as an excuse. Always have an excuse up your pocket, and you'll be fine, man.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I wanted to say the other case that I wanted to say that Stabil kinda likes the slow-paced game because of Ornn items, because of double ADC scaling, and because they traded Drake for turret, right? If they just get 1 or 2 Drakes, then they have more minutes to scale, because every single Drake gives them 5 minutes until Soul, so 5 minutes more scaling. And that's why I wanted to argue that Stabil likes that, but of course Snooze likes to sleep.
Yeah, and here we might have a situation that could tip the scale in their favor more definitely, as JJS picks up the kill onto Slakers. Kinetic really low, is not able to get away. Luckily for Snooze Esports, that kill goes to the enemy support, and JJS just keeps on snipping through. Triple kill for the Gwen player.
Yeah, just a snip snap in the end, killing them all. JJS on his Gwen with the perfect farm, and now with 4 kills. And there was just no carry for Stabil, so they just had a Brand and 2 tanks, and they still traded 3 for 2, so was kind of fine for Stabil. But of course, with all the damage carry, you just have no damage to really fight something like that. And there come a really good Ornn ulted into the spawn nugget into W, and in the end Trigger Happy killing him. But then your whole team is gone anyway, so well played by... In the meantime, by the way, Tristana somehow killed Right.
Crouch, yeah, in the middle.
We didn't see it, but I already thought, why did they trade it 2 for 3? I believe it was just a 3 for 1,
Yeah.
but then somehow Right got killed, so that's the second kill.
I was also really confused when I saw that. I was like, huh? What's going on? It was a really good fight for Snooze there, right? The teachers explode, but yeah. In the mid lane it happened. In the meantime, we have to say, slow game, but slowly but surely Snooze is getting a bit ahead in terms of gold. They are starting to get a more comfortable seat here, especially with JJS picking up the kills on the spot side just earlier, and with overall a rather crazy 40 CS lead on his enemy. Also a 30 CS lead in the jungle for Fnatic, while the rest is even, with Elistine having himself a lead. A Drake 3 being done by Snooze, uncontested from Stabil.
Oh no.
JJS in the back line goes out to Slakers. We have the follow-up with the ultimate here, but that is stopped in the midway. And Stabil is able to fall back. Maxax did TP though, with that leaving the top lane.
To be honest,
Yep,
could
here
have
comes
been a
all of the Forge Guard. He finds purchase onto Kinetic, but they're not able to follow up on it really. But they are looking for a trigger happy in the middle of Snooze Esports. Will be able to survive maybe thanks to his ultimate as Yatun survived. Thanks to the lamp stress, but the situation turns around as we have Reich going in with the Moonfall. Shutdown goes here to Rakuzi, and that's a triple kill for Kinetic and an ace from Snooze Esports in this team fight that just suddenly exploded.
Yeah, I don't believe it, because first of all, they just with a wonderful flank teleport, but then nothing happened. And then I even thought that's a Baron angle, because everybody of Snooze is running to bot lane, and Stabil could have just went to top lane, and if there's no vision, with double ADC they can just take it down, right? But then somehow they thought, no, that's an engage angle, and then they got clean swept. 5 and 0, a clean ace, which is always horrible, because you killed nobody, but you lost 5 people, right? That was the engage on ultimate, not that impressive actually, and then Trigger tried to get someone, but in the end, good lamb thrust, but just let them survive, and this Varus ult just stunned all of them, while they could just run them down with JJS and with Diana. So well played by Kinetic with 3 kills. But I thought that's a Baron angle, but they didn't want to.
I didn't expect it at all either. Maybe the catch on the right here, but with here the Zonias takes quite a lot of damage. I don't think that he's able to get away here.
Oh, it's another kill for Stabil, but of course they lose a whole turret. And against this Baron buff, it's really hard to defend.
Yeah, especially when you have something like a Gwen pushing together with a Kindred here on the top lane. Chandara goes Ori. Kinetic has to be careful, getting really low, gets shut down by Slakers. As Stabil is able to push away Snooze on the top lane and even get a turret on the bot lane. So, you know, not all hope is lost, but with that previous situation, Snooze were able to gather up a solid 5.5k gold lead, which is huge still.
Yeah, and with this 6 Void Crops, they have even a really decent takedown of turrets. Oh no, the Ghost Blade gets activated. Rakuzios on his way.
Yep, Rakuzi on the hunt, but Exton Joe was able to get away. Ooh. Isco's gonna hold on long enough. No, okay. Rocket jump, he would get away. But what I want to say about this explosive team fight before, because I also thought you don't want to team fight this, right? Actually, they won the fight before they engaged it, because Snooze just got a bunch of damage from trying to find an angle here, and they were forced to fall back, right?
Yeah, and it was just a little bit too forced, especially with his own ultimate, just don't really getting your team in range, and the knockups don't really matter. And then Trigger happy with this flash over the wall, it was just way too forced, and nobody really could follow up.
Yeah, but at first it looked decent, and I think they were distracted by their own engage here, because they completely forget about JJS and Reich, who were just around the corner to flank them and just put a bunch of damage in them before the rest of Snooze could fall back onto them. Now we have a situation here around the base. Kinetic is able to push away Stabil back to the fountain while the rest of his team can join up here mid lane to take down the first inhib turret of this game. And maybe the first inhib, but no, Stabil decides to go for the engage here with the Call of the Forge, but does not hit anyone, and with that Snooze Esports is able to counter-engage a bit. Go back in, here comes Reich onto Maxax, gets a lot of CC and damage, however uses the Sonya, is able to survive a bit longer with that. And he is able to... No! Oh, very nice Lamps Respite coming in from Kinetic. Danger goes in for the kill with the flash, and they keep pushing. It's Stabil now that is driving the Sloths away from their base.
Yeah, Drake is spawning, so they could go for it, especially now that Reich is dead and all of the other players are kind of on reset, so they cannot really contest it, which gives Stabil just a second Drake for their pockets, and of course 5 more minutes of scaling. What a bot lane 1v1.
1v1 with the Zona turret, might be able to get JJS, but nope. He survives thanks to, is it already the Zonias?
Slakas is on his way.
On the way. Just has to be careful, he is already really low from the situation. With Illis Season, is able to mitigate quite a bit of damage here. Places very wonderfully, gets the kill on Slakas, but will die in the end still.
It's a shutdown for Slakas, but boy oh boy, he could have survived that. I mean, still well played by JJS, and that's really a beautiful kill by him. Just killing Slakas, who was full life with just like 100 or 200 health, just by sidestepping some spells and by using the immune, of course. And Stabil at the moment really not finding the right team fights, because they have this front to back team comp. They have 2 ADCs, so they need to play first target, and especially first target they can hit. Not just long range engage with Ornn onto someone, because those 2 ADCs will never be in range to out-attack this person. So we really need to ult people in front of you to then just slowly kill all of them one by one. And that's at the moment just not happening for Stabil.
Yeah, they're really having a rough time to do so. Joe does look for those catches, is able to get some nice damage out, so does... I mean, the 2 AD carries are doing a good job in the end in what they're supposed to do, but it's just... they're not able to properly find it in those 5v5 situations, right? Baron is about to spawn. Snooze is already setting up the vision around it. They're already onto it pretty much. Ooh, maybe catch here, no. Waiting to regroup. JJS on the bot lane.
Kinda deep there, but
yeah,
in the end, just surviving. I think with Ash Arrow but no, Ash Arrow would just get immune by Quen. I mean, no, the Baron threat is real, so they need to face check it, but no, they just stop it. So Snooze is kinda toying with their food, and now they try to find an engage, maybe with Yatu and JJS.
Yep, JJS here in the flanking position has already pulled out the threat needle. Here come the rest of the ultimate. Call of the Forge go out of here from Maxax. Wiz caught in the middle of Snooze Esports. Is he gonna die? He survives thanks to the lamp stress, but so does JJS. But now in the middle of the enemies is gonna die in the end. It's Reich that goes all in with the Mood Crash, is able to pick up a kill on Trigger. Happy Slake is really low. Uses the Zonias as well, but he's not gonna get away. Double kill for the Diana player of Snooze Esports as Illis Season and Axton Joe, both AD carries of Stabil, are kind of on the back foot here. We're not really able to get into this fight as Snooze Esports just pushed in and pushed in deeper, and were able to just take out this front line of Stabil.
Yeah, and in the end, they just can't keep up their front line, and especially in this time, Tristana was just not in a team fight, so one of the carries is missing. Yeah.
And with that, Joe tries to defend to the end with Illis Season, but I think that is a game, ladies and gentlemen. With that, Snooze Esports is able to take the win here in Game 3 versus Stabil.
Yeah, and they did it again. They won their first match against Stabil. They won their second match against Stabil. So they are maybe stronger against Stabil, at least if we just compare those two teams. And with that, it's the conclusion of this match day because that was the last match. Sadly, we had 2 match days with just 3 games, but the next 3 match days have 4 every single time. So anyway, with that, I think there was not a surprise a win. I think Royal Fam won both times against Red Lion, Waves won both times against Hitmonlee, and now Snooze won both times against Stabil. So those round robin matches went pretty predictable. But let's see what the next weeks will be for us.
Yeah, it's definitely not over yet, and maybe we can take a look at the leaderboard so you can take a look at how it looks globally. Royal Family still ahead with Vase both sharing the 2 first spots here in the first division, and with this last match, Snooze Esports going 3-3 and Stabil being pushed down to the 4th spot with 2-4. Last but not least, we have Red Lions at Hitmonlee at 1-5, closing off the leaderboard. Still quite a bit open in this lower brackets of the leaderboards, if I can say so. The 2 first spots seem to be rather comfortable there. They should be able to lock in playoffs without any issue. Snooze could still have a rough time getting into playoffs. It depends on how the next few matches go, right? I mean, Stabil still has a decent shot, but on the other hand, while they do still have a shot for the playoffs, they also need to protect themselves from relegations for Division 2, because there is only 1 match, 1 win difference between them and Hitmonlee and Red Lions, right?
Yeah, so those matches definitely become really, really important for Stabil. If they win against Hitmonlee and Red Lion, they should be pretty safe, but of course they still need to do it. And for Waze and for Snooze, kinda it's just important to maybe get 1 win against Royal Fam, because then there could be a tiebreaker, of course, with Waze and Royal Fam for the first place, because in our playoff format, the first place, of course, is in the finals already, while second or third need to play in the semifinals. So it's important to maybe sneak a win from Royal Fam just to keep the potential tiebreaker up.
Yeah, definitely. You do want to have this more comfortable position, and things are still open, but it's not going to be easy in any case. Now, quite a few things before we close up shop for tonight. We mentioned it a bit earlier. 3 nominees for the Player of the Week title of Week 2, which were Royal Family's Axo and Vase Esports Thunder Yodel and Grimmige Borrel. One of them did get the MVP award, and maybe for Stana, I'll give you the honors to announce who it was.
And the MVP in the end is Grimmige Borrel, with, of course, this banger performance on a Zingsau with 9.5 kills, 1.5 deaths, and 9 assists. So a pretty damn well KDA from the jungler of Face. And we all remember his quadra kill. We even saw it in the little highlights recap thingy video, where he just did a quadra kill alone in the dark, which was really amazing from him on the Zingsau. So definitely well played moment, and MVP who earned it.
Yes, and now before we get to the end, in the name of Post, I would like to thank our sponsors of tonight, which are Samsung, Kia, and Plume. I would personally also like to thank everybody involved in the production of this, in the regie, for the observing and for the replays. They are making this show the gold that it is worth. And before we leave you for tonight, I already say good night, goodbye to you, but you still have something to watch, because we have for you, starting today, the end of day highlights from Kia.
defeat. You gotta let go. You know that now it's time to do what we're best at. Time once again to bring it on and find the courage inside us. Once again the game is on. You have won and you've lost before. You were left with scars that time cannot erase. Still you're standing here once more, and not for help. Surpass yourself. It's time to do what we're best at. Time once again to bring it on and find the courage inside us. Time once again to bring it on. Once again the game is on. Once again the game is on. Gotta give it all time and time again. Never falter, a loss is not the end. Gotta give a good fight until the end. You will win by growing along the way. Gotta give it all time and time again. Surpass yourself, it's time to do what we're best at. Time once again to bring it on and find the courage